Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, students? I hope that you're all fine. Inshallah, in this video, we are going to practice what we have learned about the verbs that are followed by gerunds or infinitives. Okay? So, we have learned first, or the previous videos, about the verbs that are followed either by gerunds or infinitives. And we have mentioned all the verbs that are followed by gerunds and all the verbs that are followed by infinitives. Other verbs are followed by either gerunds or infinitives with a difference in meaning, and some of them can be followed by either a gerund or an infinitive without a change in the meaning. Right? If you go back to the previous videos, you will understand what I am talking about. Now, we are going here to practice the activities that you have in your student books in Unit 7. Okay, we are going to practice the use of gerunds and infinitives through exercises. Okay, so please, all of you, open your books, your student books, and let's start doing the exercises that are about gerunds and infinitives. Now, here you have exercise number 5. Complete the summary of the text with the infinitive or gerund from the verbs in brackets. One of the verbs can be in both forms. So this summary or this exercise depends on the what? On the text that we have read about Charles Dickens. Okay, so we have read a text about Charles Dickens, and this is a summary of that text. What's the meaning of summary? ملخص. This is a summary of the text which was about Charles Dickens that we have learned previously. So it's just like it's just like a memory about Charles Dickens. Now, here we have only one verb that can be used in both forms, but I'll explain some points here. Okay. Regarding the first one. Well, let's read it first and then I'll explain it to you. Charles was a quiet boy who loved reading. Here they have chosen to write what? Reading rather than what? Rather than to read. We have mentioned previously that the verb love can be followed either by to plus infinitive or by what? Verb ing. There is something that I have to explain for you now. Look here. Now, if I have the verb, for example, love, okay, then the space was followed by a full stop, okay. Here, the ing verb or the gerund is acting as an object. It's an object here because this is considered as a noun. The gerund is just like a noun. So it's the object of what? Of the verb love. For example, if I have the verb intend, okay, and the space is followed by a full stop. So I have to write a gerund or verb ing because intend needs what? Intend needs an object. And can to plus infinitive or the base verb can act as an object? No. The infinitive can't act as an object to these verbs. That's why we have to use what? Gerund rather than the infinitives. Let's write an example again here. For example, I will read or I'll write this example. I like For example, this one. And I like apples. Okay? Now, if I have said I like to eat, it's wrong. Why? There must be an object after to eat. Okay? The infinitive is also a verb. The infinitive is also a verb. To plus verb. Okay? So there must be an object after it. But here we don't have an object. That's why we have to use the gerund, which is what? I like eating. Full stop. Okay? While in this example, I can use both eating or to eat. And both are correct. So, if after these verbs that are followed by either a gerund or an infinitive without changing the meaning in it, if after it we have a space without an object, we have to use what? The gerund. Okay, so we have to use the gerund. And if we have an object after it, we can use both, either the gerund or the infinitive, and both are correct. If you didn't get it, please just ask me in a message or in a comment and so on. So now let's continue doing the exercise. So here we have chosen to write reading because there is no object after the space. And reading here has been acted as what? As the object itself. Okay? He remembered. Now the verb remembered here. Remembered is followed either by a gerund or infinitive according to the meaning. Remembered here gives the meaning of memory. Okay? Now, because it gives the meaning of memory, see, we have to write what? Listening. So we have to use the gerund form, listening. Okay? So he remembered listening to children playing outside. When he was 12, Charles was no longer able. Now here, the verb, I have to tell you this information also. Be able must be followed by to plus infinitive or the base form. So be able must be followed by to plus infinitive. Okay? So he was no longer able to attend. You have to add to attend. To attend school regularly. At the age of 14, he stopped. Here we have a verb that that we have to consider. We have considered what the meaning of the verb stop here. Did he stop to do something or he stopped doing something? Okay? Now the meaning in the text that he stopped going to school. He didn't go to school anymore. So he stopped going, right? He stopped going to school altogether and started. Started also can take both, either work or to work. Okay? According to the text, طبعا هي بالنص يا أول, it's written as what? As working. But if you have written it as to work, both are correct. So either ing, gerund, or to work. Okay? And both could be correct. But in the text, it was mentioned as working. Next. After that, he began. Began also as a verb that takes both a gerund or an infinitive. Okay? And because we have what? We have an object after it, so it can take either a gerund or an infinitive without a change in the meaning. So you can write writing with ing or using to plus infinitive to write. And both are correct. He enjoyed. Now the verb enjoy must be only followed by what? By a gerund. So it should be what? Traveling. So it's what? Traveling. Okay, you have to double the L here. You have to double the L. Double L, then ing. Okay, so again, I'll read it for you to check your answers. Charles was a quiet boy who loved reading. He remembered listening to children playing outside. When he was 12, Charles was no longer able to attend school regularly. At the age of 14, he stopped going to school altogether and started working or to work as a clerk in a lawyer's office in London. After that, he began to writing short pieces for the newspaper. He enjoyed traveling very much too and traveled all over the world. This is the first exercise, and let's move to these are the answers, but we have added some comments there. Now, exercise number 6, it's a speaking task, but because they have used it for practicing gerunds and infinitives, I have to give it to you as a written task here. Work in pairs, choose the correct alternative, then ask and answer the questions. Let's use these questions to practice the gerunds. What do you prefer? Here we have the verb prefer. Okay, prefer is followed either by a gerund or an infinitive. But look here. We have or. What is applied after or is the same before or vice versa. Okay? What does it mean? Now, after or, do we have an object? No, we don't have an object. So we must use what? Or we must choose reading, because we don't have an object and reading is considered as an object. Okay? So, because we have or, after or is the same of before it. يعني هي أول اللي بعد or نفس بنطبقها على قبلها، واللي قبل or نفس بنطبقها على بعدها. تمام؟ So here, because we have or, it must be preceded by also what? A gerund. Playing and reading. Next we have, when did you start learning or to learn English? Learning or to learn English. Now start also can be what? Can be followed by either learning or to learn. So both can be correct. When did you start learning or when did you start to learn English? Both can be correct. What do you hope doing or to do when you finish school? Now, the verb hope is followed by infinitive. So what's the correct answer here? It must be to do. What do you enjoy? Enjoy, to do, or enjoy doing? Enjoy is a verb that is followed by a gerund. So it's what? Doing. Where do you want going or where do you want to go on holiday? Want is a verb that is followed by an infinitive. So it's what? To go. What are you planning? Also the verb plan is followed by an infinitive, to do. Do you remember? Do you remember starting or to start school for the first time Well, if I have mentioned here for the first time, so it's what? It's a memory. It's not a task that you have to do. It's not a task. It's not a homework. It's not something important that you have to do and you have to remember it. No. This means a memory. My memory about going to school when I was a kid or for the first time. So what? Remember here takes what? A gerund, which is starting. Because the gerund with remember means memory. Would you ever consider? The verb consider must be followed by a gerund, which is moving. Clear? This is what we have for today. Inshallah, I'll send you a link for a game that you have to do. It's just like a quiz, but in a game mood, okay? I'll send it in the group for the WhatsApp. So all of you, please attend this or submit to this game and do the quiz together to write your attendance. Thank you for watching. ويعطيكم العافية.